Sean Huckster here. Welcome down the Mighty Max rabbit hole. I am now starting Series 1 Horror Heads reviews, and because they are not as complex or as detailed inside or have as many features as the Doom Zones, I'm going to be doing these two at a time and group them in pairs that seem to make sense to me. This one looks like almost like a werewolf, a cyborg werewolf, and a vampire, so they're kind of thematically similar. So what we have first is Mighty Max defeats Vamp. Vamp is obviously a vampire, and you can see he's got the bat nose, the red eyes, ugly orange-yellow teeth with blood on them, and bat ears up here, obviously. And, you know, well sculpted. You got hair on it, very similar to a lot of the other sets, like the Arachnoid and the Battle Cat. On the back, you've got your logo, Bluebird Toys, 1992. Okay, so let's get to it since there's not a lot in these. Let's open up the cap. First thing you see is Nightwing. So the bat inside is Nightwing. The ears of the vampire from the outside are the wings of the Vamp Biter, Nightwing. And that is, of course, typical of Mighty Max sets. Some part of the interior forms a nice part of the exterior. So let's see what else we have. Down here we have kind of a, I would say a cave floor. It definitely looks more like a cave than a castle or whatever, but you've got all these bats down here. I would imagine it's a bat cave. And then of course you have Max here, and there's like a whole like river of blood standing in front of him. So I don't know if he's just afraid to step forward or whether he's stepping in the blood, but since his feet aren't actually in it, I don't know. The clever part about this one, I think, is that Vamp Biter or Nightwing clips to the floor here, which is kind of cool because his feet are set up to have clips. So his rear thumbs there on his feet, his rear toe feet, I guess, toe thumbs, clip right onto here so he doesn't fall, well, he falls off, but he clips on rather well and can be well situated for closing the case. Well, let's look behind him. Behind him we have the upper floor, which definitely has just some like debris down here, but this is clearly supposed to be a darkened cave inside a castle, I think, because these teeth show to be maybe a hole in a castle wall, I'm not sure, but these are stairs going up. You got a floor here, more stairs going up on either side, but here you have like a castle entrance. You've got sconces and torches over here, and up here you definitely have towers of some sort of, obviously looks like almost like medieval or Mediterranean type castle, not your typical English castle. So maybe Transylvania, who knows? And I mean, literally that is it. You've got your Max who stands here, you have a little foothold here, and Nightwing clips back on, and you can push it on and he clips on and he closes it. And that's really all there is to this one. And then the next one is Mighty Max battles Skull Warrior. I've done a video on this one before, and I'll explain why in a little minute. But clearly what we have here is, the idea is supposed to be a werewolf, but it's obviously a cyborg werewolf. I don't know what's up with the teeth, but a lot of teeth are like this with bars in the teeth and eyes on a lot of these sets. But clearly he's got a cyborg head. The unusual thing is the cyborg head looks like to be on the outside of the werewolf head, so it's almost like he's been Borgified rather than a cyborg you would think would have skin over. No, I guess not. He definitely looks like he's been Borgified, so the cyborg components have been placed over his face. And one metal component is sticking right through here, almost like Frankenstein's monster in a way. Well sculpted, nicely pebbled, not too shiny. There's an open nose and open eye here, and then this eye is in the exterior, as most Mighty Max sets, part of the interior, and I'll show you in a second. And of course, these little cyborg connections here. So let's open up the shell and see what we have. Okay, so what we have here is the villain, and his name is Skull Warrior. He appears to be, if you read the comic book, he appears to be a scavenger of some sort, and he sells parts, because when Max teleports into his space, all he wants to do is sell Max for parts, basically. He says, you must be worth something, dead or alive. And so underneath here you can see robotic parts, cyborg parts. Clearly he's a scavenger, and I would say this is more like a robot, not a robot factory as much as a robot junkyard. Here you have these little circles here probably match up to the circles outside. I don't know if they actually do, but that's the intent. And the interesting thing about this one is this is the Space Surfer, comes out, and that's the eye from the outside. And the Space Surfer has a little pin here to go into here so that it fits into place and stays. You have this little column here that kind of sits on underneath this, so when you close it, it keeps the eye in place. And this is a hoverboard, sort of like it's a hovered vehicle. And although the pin is broken on this one, he fits onto the pin and can hover around. In the comic book, he chases Max with this. Max grabs onto it and overbalances and tips the thing. And just as he's about to shoot, Max unbalances it, knocks Skull Warrior off, and blasts him. And then he teleports out. And that's basically all there is to this one. Now, I did do a video earlier in which I showed a little improvement I made to this set. And I'll just show it again now, since if you haven't seen it. The Space Surfer has a little slot in it. And you'll notice when you close the eye, close the shell, there's nothing in this eye. It's just dark. So what I did is I created a little 3D printed object, and I put these little spheres on the bottom, and it's intended to be like attitude jets or something. And this slots right into this slot, gives a little space for a little console here. If I wanted Max, I could put a little sticker here so Max could stand on the console and drive it. And when that closes, let me just put Max back where he belongs. And when you snap this back into place, in here, you put the hole in here, you make sure the pin goes in place and the eye fits in place, and the shell closes. Now, you've got this menacing red eye sticking out, which is a small improvement. But as I said, that's just a customization that I did and is not actually part of it. So that's it for the first two of the horror heads that I'm going to be doing. Series 1, Mighty Max defeats Vamp Biter, and Mighty Max battles Skull Warrior. And this was the very first one I got, so I was quite happy with this. And I have about 4 of these I've got in different lots. I actually got sent one by accident, and the seller wouldn't take it back, because it was his mistake. So I have like 4 of these now. I only have 1 of him though. Anyway, oh, and also there is a variant figure in the Heroes and Villains set, which I forgot to bring out, but I'm going to bring out now. We just pour them out. In which Skull Warrior is painted in gold instead of black. I just thought that might be worth mentioning. All right, that's it for now. Stay tuned for the next video, in which I will do 2 more Series 1 horror heads. You won't know which until you see it. So we'll see you then. Sean Huckster signing off. Bye-bye.